going on, guys? Welcome on back to the Second and Short podcast. Here we're going to talk about another new addition who I think is going to have a major impact in 2021. We're talking about that new addition being outside linebacker, defensive end, edge rusher, Hasson Reddick, coming from the Arizona Cardinals over to the Carolina Panthers, where now he partners up in a duo with standout for the Carolina Panthers, Brian Burns. Now, let's rewind. Before we dive into how big we think this guy is going to be, let's talk about a little things here. Subscribe button, like button, hit them. They're simple, they're easy. If you hit one of those things, you can stay updated on everything we got going on here at Second and Short. Plus, showing that you like our video shows support to us, shows that we need to keep making more content for you guys. With this being NFL week, that being the week the season starts, content's coming out every single day. Not just here, but over on TikTok. Links are down in the bio. You can see it right here. You can also check out our previous videos, follow us on all other social medias. Now, let's get in. Like I said, let's rewind. Let's talk about some background. So after a fantastic senior year at Temple, stand-up performances in the Senior Bowl, and excellent combine performance, Hasson Reddick was drafted 13th overall in 2017 by the Arizona Cardinals. He was drafted as like a hybrid middle linebacker who honestly didn't really pan out in that situation. They really didn't use him the way that he needed to be used, and he kind of struggled in his first years, only managing 20 starts in his first couple of years. And in those first 3 years, he only had 7.5 sacks, kind of showing that while that's his specialty, he was in the wrong position. But never fear, come 2020, the Arizona Cardinals decided to decline his fifth-year option, but they decided to move him to the outside, playing an outside linebacker role where he's able to rush the edge in their 3-4 formation that they had. And he was very successful with it. 12.5 sacks in a breakout year in the NFL, showing that if you put him at the right position, he can develop better and be that force that you need on the outside. But like I said, before the season started, they declined his fifth-year option, so he was free to test the market. Now let's fast forward. 2021 offseason's here, and let's talk about his contract. So ultimately, he signs a one-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. It's worth $6 million. It can reach up to an extra, couple million, top out around $8+ million with some incentives. There's some voidable years on this contract that obviously can be reworked and moved around, but he can be brought back for another year, almost the same price. And Carolina, if they get some success out of him in using him the smart way that he needs to be used, like he was in Temple and his last year in Arizona, then he's going to be a staple piece at only 26 years old as well. Now, I keep mentioning Temple. Keep mentioning the way he was used before. Well, that's because his former head coach at the University of Temple is the Carolina Panthers head coach, Matt Rule. Matt Rule knew how to use him. I mean, his last year playing on the edge, defensive end, outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it, edge rusher, he was fantastic. And he showed that he is able to make big plays around that edge. I believe the Carolina Panthers are going to be much smarter in using him. Since they have Brian Burns, they have Gross Matos, they got newly acquired Morgan Fox. He is looking at a situation where he's going to be a rotational player in on that defensive end line as Carolina kind of plays a 4-3, but he's also going to be able to use in packages as an outside linebacker, pairing with Shaq Thompson and Jermaine Carter Jr., forming a really good front seven for the Carolina Panthers. Now, we also know that the Carolina Panthers defensive end, Brian Burns, has kind of challenged Hasson Reddick to a sack contest in 2021, which is fantastic if you're a Panthers fan or a Panthers defense, or if you don't like the team the Carolina is playing. Now, in every single one of Reddick's starts, he played almost every single snap. But with edge rushers, especially on the defensive side, they tend to show fatigue because they're just expected to go 110% around an edge at a hard angle to try and beat just one person. And they take some abuse and wear and tear. And so we see throughout the season regression a little bit in how their production goes, except for like the top tier elite. So if Carolina can be smart and rotate him in on both linebacker and defensive end, I think he'll be fantastic this year coming for them. Now, we've already been talking about this, but we'll just pull up impact right here. He's going to take off pressure away from Brian Burns. He's going to allow the defensive tackles in the middle, whether it be Daquan Jones or Derek Brown, to get that pressure up there. He's going to allow Jermaine Carter to have the flexibility in the middle, knowing that his outside linebackers of Shaq Thompson and Reddick are able to cover those zones out there and protect the edges a little bit. And honestly, it's just going to boast the whole defense. Having a guy that's got a really good athletic ability that can just get to the quarterback, make tackles in open field. He's agile, sideline to sideline. It just helps every other defensive player on that roster. Long term, if this plays out well, like we're saying it could do, and like we think it will, the point of this video, then the contract is going to come next year. He's going to continue to move. He's still a young player compared to most like vets. But I mean, going into his 5th year, he can be a guy that's showing last year wasn't a fluke. I'm here for the long haul. I'm here to help this Carolina Panthers defense went from like 30th to 18th. Let's take it from 18th this year to maybe top 12. It's a bold move, but really, if they're getting more pressure on the quarterback, that's the first step in becoming a better defense in 2021. Overall, this is a very low risk, high reward situation for the Carolina Panthers. And if I'm Hasson Reddick, I'm willing to bet on myself after last year's performance. And that's going to do it for us here on Second and Short. Be sure, like I said, hit all these buttons, follow us and everything, subscribe, stay updated and everything. With all that being said, be on the lookout as the next video coming up is our last new additions where we talk about a wide receiver that I think is going to have a big year over in the AFC. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Sometimes all I think about